when I think about tests, I often think about tests at school, or maybe a test when you have an STI or a DUI, which is never great. Not that I've ever had that. By the way, if you want to join the WeScale community, part of your application process is that you send your DUI and STI tests in for verification. Tests, love tests. Just not those type. So as part of your print-on-demand journey, you're going to have to do some tests, and it's worth considering these a risk management strategy. And if you can imagine what it would be like, and this is theoretically speaking, what it would be like to launch a business and invest money in marketing and products based on an idea that's never been proven. And so when you consider that, the idea of a test starts to make a bit more sense. And so the question and the challenge that everyone within business is faced with is, how can we prove the ideas that we have before we make the bigger financial commitment? And so that is essentially scaling. We invest more to scale the business. But before scaling, we have to kind of prove that our designs, the website funnel, and marketing will work. And if we don't do that, then there's a high risk that we could waste a considerable sum of money. So this shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, it's part of the training and the process. And in the WeScale community, we will help you do that. It is essential for success. And the more that we do it and you do it, the better we get at it. So during this testing phase, you should expect to invest a startup sum. And I mean, I can't really tell you what the sum will be for you. I can tell you that my startup sum was 11,000 New Zealand dollars. And that was because of the amount of testing that I did to reach my goals. And I consider that an investment. And now the business is profitable, I'm able to get that back. And so your awareness of this training, your data analysis, and how you use the data will essentially affect the size of that sum. So essentially that means the better you are at testing, the smaller the sum will be. The better you are at learning and asking for feedback and receiving that feedback and implementing it, the smaller the sum that will be. So we're here to help you with testing. Don't be concerned about that. It's just part of the process. And it's actually quite good fun. You learn quite a lot about marketing and the numbers. A big part of testing is the learning process of the cost associated with your ads. And so if we consider for a moment that if we just launched ads without any testing, the cost to deliver those ads may be high or it could be low. And so this is why we do these tests. And in essence, before we get to the scaling part, we have to prove that our designs and mock-ups are capable of running in an ad campaign with cost efficiency. And so that's really important. And so I want to say that again, it is absolutely essential that we do enough testing so that our mock-ups and designs have been proven to be capable of achieving a cost per click of $1 or less. And the alternative to that is that we don't test, and the cost per click might be $2, $3, $4, $5, and at $5, it's not economical. So testing is the only way. And so you can expect to be running lots of tests. This is a normal part of the process, and the testing never really stops. And we'll talk more about that later in when we start speaking about ad fatigue and next steps. And so while these tests are running, it's a really good opportunity to focus on some of the aspects of the buildings, like building out your automated email flows, homing in on the conversion rate of your website and focusing on that. If you want to try and get some ideas for email flows that will help you, a real good tip that worked for me is find some inspirational brands and sign up to their newsletters and just start taking notes of the type of emails they send you, how often they send them to you, what's the content is. Do they have images in them? Do they not? Do they have links or buttons? Do they show the products, or are they showing something else? Is it a sales email, or is it a value email, or is it an information email? So there's lots of considerations around emails. So highly recommend signing up to newsletters and just start taking notes on other brands' emails. And so when I speak about this testing approach, I like to talk about what I call the trifecta testing mindset. And so that is essentially the design, your website funnel, and marketing that must be built and optimized based on ideas that are proven through testing. And this is a continual improvement process. Throughout the whole life of your brand, you will continually improve the design, the website funnel, and your marketing. And the good thing about that is that the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more you're able to stay in front of your competition. So I want to talk about the website for a minute, because this is something that we will have to test and optimize. And in one of the earlier videos, you heard me talk about Reloom.io and how you can use that to build out your website. But in essence, the website must be capable of converting sales. In order to test that, you are required to invest some money in your ads, and you're required to send traffic to your website, and the traffic must move around in your website and create data points for you to analyze so that you can make the necessary changes to improve the conversion rate of the sales on your website. And so one of the key elements to this is focusing on building trust with your customers by using your brand's elevator pitch that we spoke about in earlier videos. And you can use this on your homepage, your product pages, and About Me pages. And really give some thought to whether you want to give your brand a face. On my website, I have a founders page, and the founders are visible. And I really think that helps the customers connect with the brand, and it just lets them know that they're dealing with real people and that it is actually a real business. And one tip that I can share with you to improve the conversion rate of your website is to have an offer on your website. You might choose to offer free shipping, or you might choose to offer a buy X to get Y. But the main aim here is to increase your average order value, which will increase your revenue and also increase your profitability. Brand voice. And so I have some tips for you on brand voice. Here's a few things to consider. Appreciate that your brand voice and identity will continually develop over time and should be tailored to your customers. And you can utilize data from sales, comments on your ads, and feedback through customer service to help craft your brand. And to give an example of this, I use 2 of my best-selling designs as inspiration for a redesign on my logo. And that was hugely successful for me because I now have a line of products within my store that just have my logo on them, and really proud of this. And we sell many of these daily, which is great. So all being well, you're following the course and everything's making sense, and you've done your testing and you've launched some ads, and eventually you'll start to see some conversions. And hopefully over time, you'll start to get a few orders per day. And this is a really important milestone to achieve. But it's also an opportunity to collect data, and also an opportunity to put some processes in place to use that data so that you can make some informed decisions on how you are going to move your business through the next few weeks and months. And this is really important for funnel optimization, tracking purposes, but also recording changes on your site and on your ads is really useful. So as you make these changes to try and improve your conversion rate, and you make changes on your ads, it's worth keeping some kind of diary of these changes with the dates. If you see some good results, then you can go back and consider what that was so that you can maybe do more of that. Or if something didn't go so well, then you equally can go back and work out why that may be so you can reverse that change and do something differently. When you achieve 10K per month, highly recommend implementing a customer service ticket management tool. And then also work on optimizing your cost of goods variable, cost ratio. And the target that we're aiming for here is 40%. So essentially 40% of your per sale cost should be the cost of goods. So essentially 60% is for you for running the business and also your profit margin.